The Random Legacy by Sims4 Lizzie UK. Gen 1, Chapter 4. During the daytime, Mandy would go to work on weekdays, while Daichi had the apartment to himself. Rather than just staying there alone with his thoughts, he would often go out into the city, and on this particular morning he thought he'd go and play some basketball using the hoop just near their flat. As he bounced the ball up and down and aimed it for the hoop, he thought about how much his life had changed since he'd met Mandy. He'd never been so happy. It wasn't just that he had a girlfriend now, he felt as though she'd made him a better person. She'd helped him with so many of his issues, and she didn't shy away from problems. That was one of the many things he loved about her. He'd started making friends, and Mandy had even been talking about trying to get Daichi a job at the place where she worked, seeing as she'd had quite a bit of success and was rising quickly through the ranks. He wouldn't be in the same office as her, but if she could persuade her boss to give Daichi a chance, then it would be a great opportunity. Daichi constantly found himself thinking that Mandy deserved more than he could give her. He didn't know what he'd done to deserve the love with which she treated him. He knew what the next step was, of course. He knew what he had to do. He had to pull himself together, forget about his commitment issues, and ask Mandy to marry him. They'd been going out for almost a year, and now he thought that he was ready to be a husband. This life with her was what he wanted. They'd been living together for a little while, and he imagined that marriage wouldn't change much. He knew it was something that she wanted, though, and recently he'd come to find himself wanting it too. As the day went on, Daichi decided to take himself home to shower and change, and he visited the jewellery shop, and then, after Mandy was finished with work, he called her before she got home and invited her to meet him for a drink at one of the local bars. When she arrived, he bought her a drink, and they just sat down and talked. As Mandy told him about her day and how things had gone, he couldn't help but smile. This was it. The time was right. This was the life that Daichi wanted. She'd arrived out of breath and still in her business suit, and as she spoke to him, he felt that he'd never loved her more. This was the right decision. After they had their drinks, Daichi and Mandy went outside to head home, but before they did, Daichi took her hand and led her over to a spot next to the mosaic, near all the pretty flowers. "What is happening?" Mandy asked, half fond, half curious. Taking a deep breath, Daichi went down on one knee, and Mandy gasped. "I never wanted to get married," he began, "but you've changed everything for me, Mandy. You've made me a new man. You've given me a reason to live, and something worth fighting for, worth caring for. All my fears of commitment, with you, all of that is gone. You've got me thinking that maybe I do want to be a family man." You want a family with me?" "Yeah, Mandy, I do. I want to marry you, have babies with you, and grow old with you. All of it. I'm in love with you, Mandy Romero. You truly do make me a better man, and if you let me, I want to spend the rest of my life loving you and supporting you and making you happy. So, what I'm saying is, will you marry me?" "Yes!" Mandy half sobbed. "Yes, Daichi, yes, I will. I didn't expect... I thought you..." He shook his head. "You deserve everything, Mandy, and I want to give it to you. Here, this is for you." He held up the ring, and Mandy took it, swallowing as she put it onto her finger. Daichi tentatively stood up, and with a sob, Mandy pressed her lips to his. "Daichi..." "I love you so much, Mandy," he reminded her. "I love you too, so much, I really do. I'm lucky to have a man like you." That evening, Mandy and Daichi called all their friends and invited them to an engagement party up at the Stargazer Lounge. They invited their neighbours Arun and Jasminder, as well as the landlady Arahi, and of course Lily and Victor. Mandy put on her little black dress for the party, and she was really looking forward to celebrating her engagement in her favourite place in the city. Mandy and Daichi's friends were all very happy for them. They sat for a while and talked about the future as well as Mandy and Daichi's wedding plans, and Jasminder excitedly asked, "Have you thought about a date? How long are we talking?" They hadn't talked about that yet, but Mandy found herself blurting out, "Well, I'd like to get married quite soon." She blushed, realising all of a sudden what she'd said, but Daichi simply looked at her with those dark eyes, which were filled with nothing but affection, seeming a little amused. "Yes, that's the plan," he affirmed, and Mandy bit her lip. Wow, she'd got herself a good one. She couldn't believe she was going to get married. She hadn't been in the city that long, but she was really flourishing here. After chatting for a bit by the balcony, Mandy and her friends decided to go for a swim in the Stargazer Lounge's pool. They all changed into their swimming things, and after swimming around a bit, they just sat on the edge of the pool and talked some more. By this point, everyone was laughing and chatting like old friends, and Mandy loved it. She felt so fortunate with all the people that she'd met in the city. She'd had her ups and downs with the neighbours, but everyone here tonight felt like a true friend. Really. Mandy was glad that she and Daichi had decided to celebrate their engagement with their friends. It had been a really nice evening, and it had been nice to talk. After the engagement party, Mandy and Daichi went back to the flat for some food. Mandy sighed as they sat down and smiled at her new fiancé. Wow, we're engaged, Daichi. We are. He leaned across to kiss her cheek before tucking into his food. So, you want to get married soon, huh? She went pink. You said you agreed to it earlier. And I do. He smiled fondly, reaching over to stroke her cheek. I want to marry you soon too, Mandy. Whenever you want. Let's start planning. It's our future. Mandy grinned. Yeah, it's our future. Let's plan a wedding. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm really happy to be back. I didn't expect to be taking a break, but I suppose I should have. Yeah, I started university a few weeks ago, so I've moved out and I'm living by myself for the first time. So everything is. Oh wait, no, I think I did mention a break beforehand. But yeah, everything's just been a bit crazy. But yeah, I'm happy to be back now. I don't know if I'll be able to stick to a regular schedule. Sorry, but I am planning to. Um, Sorry, I've got a bit of a sore throat today, so if my voice sounds a bit funny, that is why. Thanks for coming back. I'm excited to be back. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you're looking forward to the wedding. I'm really excited for Mandy and Daichi. I love them. I think they're such a cute couple, and they bring out the best in each other. So I hope you like them too, and I hope you're excited for their next steps as a couple. Thank you, and I will see you next time.